Bernard here with the latest Citizen vlog, and of course it's a City present covering the last game, isn't it? The last game of the 1920 strange season. Not the greatest season for us, obviously. We've got a trophy in the bag, I suppose, and if you speak to Pep, he said we've got 2 trophies if you include the Community Cum Charity Shield, but I don't hold any sort of water with that one. Yep, so today we're going to look at our little big match, our final big match review of the season. Manchester City versus Lyon in the Cup Champions League quarter-finals, 15th of August 2020, 8 PM kick-off at the Estadio José Alvalade in Lisbon. Yeah, I'm sure Bernardo must have played, mustn't he? It's his own town, isn't it? Perhaps not. Please, if you're new to this Citizen channel, please push that subscription button, push the bell notifications, and of course I do the little Citizen Pass as well, Citizen vlogs for past and present. So please, now the season's finished, there'll still be lots of stuff coming out on the channel for you to watch and enjoy, hopefully, and cheer you up after obviously as I'm recording this, not the greatest night for City, was it? Right, on to the game last night then. The lineup: Ederson, Walker, Garcia, Laporte, Cancelo, Fernandinho, Rodri, Gundogan, KDB, Jesus, Sterling. So I got 9 right in my prediction of the lineup. I got 9 right. I didn't expect Garcia to be back in there. The reasons I'm not 100% sure. I mean, obviously Pep knows what he's doing, doesn't he? Yeah, of course he does. And obviously I was bit disappointed that there was no Bernardo, Foden or Silva in the lineup. I did put Foden down with a question mark about Mahrez playing, but there you go. It was a bit strange, wasn't it, with KDB our only real creative who could perhaps produce something out of nothing player, which is unusual. We really needed someone else, didn't we? I think in the middle there, in the midfield. We'll talk about that a bit later in the talking points anyway at the end of the game. On to the game itself. Yeah, there was a lot of fallout. There was a lot of fallout about the team and the negativity and thinking too much, overthinking again. Pep, you know, this is the usual line, isn't it? And I did expect. I've watched all 3 quarterfinals up to last night, and the pace has been tremendous. I mean, I have been worried by the pace as we've set out the way City have been playing, and certainly. And I did expect Lyon to come firing out of the blocks, but obviously, you know, Lyon, they did the naughty thing. They must have watched other City games where we've shown teams respect, because they sort of were quite calm, didn't they? They didn't come running out and like scolding cats or anything like that. So it gave us time to settle on the ball and play quite a slow pace, which doesn't suit us sometimes, does it? And they were getting men behind the ball. But we did have an early chance. Just so cut out on 2 minutes. There was an early chance that a ball intended for Jesus from Sterling was just cut out by the defender. I mean, that, you know, it could have been a great start, but obviously that didn't work in our way. But more or less, it was nothing really much happening. I think we had a lot of possession. Ederson made a comfortable save from Marcelo blast. I think they had 2 players, similar names, so forgive me if that's not right, but on 9 minutes where he put his foot through it. And Ederson made 3 or 4 of those saves last night where they were sort of straight at him. But it was a pretty unexciting first quarter of the game, wasn't it? Until that moment where, you know, City always seemed to compress the game into like 20 with this high line we play, and it was just a ball over the top. For them to break through, and it was Garcia did well to get back, didn't he? I think he sort of did a half tackle, but it rebounded back into Mr. Cornet, didn't he? Mr. 99 flaky Cornet, and Mr. Oscar winner of the season. I mean, that guy spends more time acting on the floor than he does scoring goals, but unfortunately he does score the goals, and he took it superbly, didn't it? It fell back to him. So I can't really particularly blame Garcia. He did his best. We were just caught square at the back. Walker was playing him, unfortunately, onside, wasn't he? So there's no chance of VAR ruling it out. Garcia did okay, but he's not the paciest of defenders. This is it, isn't it? We've got one pacey defender at the back in Walker, and you've got people, obviously, like Cornet and... obviously later on we'll talk about the Celtic player, won't we? We'll talk about him as well, who was a bit of a pain. But Mr. Cornet obviously had a habit to score against City, and he put it in superbly, and he took it really well. I don't think Ederson had much of a chance. Some say he could have done better, but it was superbly placed. Yeah, so the check for offside clearly showed Walker playing Lyon onside. There's no real onslaught for City. It sort of carried on at the same sort of pace until about the 38th minute, 39th minute, when we seemed to up the pace a little bit. Lyon fell back, not panicking, but they sort of fell back and give us a bit more room to move into. 42 minutes was a good Sterling run. He was busy all night, wasn't he? Sterling? He played really well. And he sort of managed to get it back to Rodri. And Rodri just, as in what KDB did in the second half, Rodri just sort of passed it to the keeper. He didn't really, it was a bit of a non-shot, really. On the stroke of our time, superb KDB ball found Sterling again, but his close range shot, I think it was corner again at the other end of the pitch, wasn't it? Who actually got his body in the way. The keeper may have saved it behind him, I'm not sure. I think at least Sterling had hit the target with the shot, but obviously the defender come in and slid it away for a corner. So it was a disappointing first half. I mean, you're on Twitter and there's we've got to do something. And Pep's not been afraid of changing things as he early doors in the second half, but this is the Mr. Stubborn Pep, I think, last night. So we're going 1-0 behind. He has his subs out, warming up, etc., looking as though we're going to do something. And yes, 55 minutes, we got a change, but what was it? Not the greatest change. It wasn't a double switch or anything like that. On 55 minutes, Fernandinho didn't have the greatest game. Again, he's been expected to come back in the last couple of games, hasn't he, and produce stuff, and he's not been playing half the time. So it's sort of unfair to ask Fernand to play that sort of role that he was playing last night. So he was pulled off. He made one of his customary fouls to get a yellow card. So he was pulled off, and Mahrez was put on. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have minded Mahrez on from the start, but again, things didn't really change that much. We had some free kicks. KDB had a free kick, but no real problem for Lopez. So time is ticking away. We're beginning to get a little bit worried. But then we got the equaliser, didn't we, on the 68th minute? It should have really been a catalyst for victory in my mind, and we should have really gone on and won that. Great play by Sterling. Once again last night. I mean, we were all going to not criticise him, but we're going to fall out with him later, aren't we? But great play by Sterling, pull back to KDB, and fantastic finish by KDB right to the side netting. Just avoided the defender. Absolutely fantastic. So that was it then. We should have kicked on, shouldn't we? Let's be honest about it. We should have kicked on and put this game to bed. On 72 and 76 minutes, Jesus got involved again. He had quite a quiet game, buzzing about, but not much service, etc. Brought an okay save from Lopez, who's another like Cornet, who wants to go to acting school, I think. All the dramatic saves he does, where they're straight at him and he fists them out, has always done something fantastic. Absolute liability, that keeper, in my mind. I mean, I don't like keepers like that. They make good saves and they make standard saves and they do what they do, but I think Munich will put a few past him, to be honest with you. I mean, there was one where it came over and he had a chance to volley it, and he sort of volleyed it from 6 or 8 yards out, Jesus, and it just, I don't know, just a terrible finish from a super, because Sterling had been given so much time. He'd been given so much time by the Lyon defence just to find Jesus at the back, and he was on his own, and it was spectacular, and perhaps it had to be a little bit spectacular, but he made a bit of a mess of it, unfortunately. And then, obviously, that was 76 minutes of those chances on 78 minutes from nothing, really, was it? I mean, this is the thing with City. We've seen it all season in the Premier League, etc. In a couple of the cups, even obviously the FA Cup. Well, from nothing there, Dembele comes on for them. Obviously, the guy who also likes to score against City, unfortunately. Not the greatest play. I mean, they had Denayer, didn't they? We made Denayer look half decent most of the time. But anyway, Dembele had come on, and he looked as though there'd been a foul. Obviously, City were trying to play the offside trap. It had worked, but the player who was offside didn't touch it, did he? He sort of let it go through his legs. And Mr. Dembele, who looked as though he'd fouled Laporte, and there was a bit of obviously argy-bargy. I thought Ederson had saved it, but it bounced into the goal. I thought Ederson did okay, but made himself big, but it sort of bounced into the goal. And obviously it was 2-1, or was it? Because we all thought it was going to be ruled out for VAR. Is it Peter Walton, the ref they have on the thing, said he wasn't offside, which is a joke of a of a reasoning anyway, because that's just a stupid reason. I mean, at the end of the day, the fact that the City players had done the right job and played that guy on offside, and it doesn't count for anything because, obviously it fell to the guy behind him. But yeah, it did look as though there was a meeting of legs between Laporte and the Dembele who went on to score. But obviously, VAR didn't give anything. I believe BT showed that the referee had his whistle in his mouth at the time to blow for that, but he didn't. But I've seen things like that before. He might have been waiting to blow for an offside flag or something like that. But I don't know. I can only go off what they're saying. Yeah, the VAR didn't get. Obviously, Mr. Walton said that it looked like a foul to him all day long, but we don't get those things, do we? Unfortunately, we know we have to play against the officials as well as teams sometimes, and that's just how it is. And I mean, we should know that we have enough chances and we're good enough to win these games. But so we're 2-1 down. Did you really think we were going to come back from that? I lost heart. I mean, 83 minutes. No substitutions till then apart from the Mahrez while he brings David Silva on. I mean, I don't. I can see the point, but that to me is just admitting we'd lost the game and bringing him on for just his last Champions League appearance. I mean, surely Bernardo should have been on fire earlier, or Foden. Please, he was crying out for a little bit of ingenuity, someone to take people on, and we weren't getting it, were we? But we still had a chance, didn't we? We still had a chance at 2-1, but they missed the game from Sterling. I mean, I was up for the goal. I don't know how we missed that one. Obviously, it seemed to come right. We don't have divots on the pitches, do we, these days, for it to hit a divot? But how we missed on 85 minutes, the ball came across. I mean, Jesus again did something really well. He played really well, got the ball across to Sterling. It was all there for a goal, wasn't it? But 85 minutes, unbelievable. Unless we missed that. We're not going to talk. It had a really good game, Sterling, unfortunately, and that's going to be remembered more than the game he did play. Then disaster, less than a minute later, just under a minute later, is again from nothing. I don't know what Ederson not had a bad game, and everyone's slagging Ederson off, and there's a lot of people I've seen on vlogs, etc., saying he's not had a good season. I think he's had an okay season. I don't think he's doing too bad. And he made an error. He fumbled a ball that normally he wouldn't have fumbled. He'd been catching them all night. He'd been even shot straight at him. He'd been collecting them and having no problem, but he fumbled a weak shot, and Sniffer Dembele again nipped in to make it 3-1, and it was game over, wasn't it? We're not the City of old. We're not the City of old where we're going to come back from 2-1 down with sort of 3 or 4 minutes plus injury time left. This isn't the same City that it was then. It's I don't know what this City is, but it's not that City, unfortunately. The 5-minute injury time, we had a couple of chances. KDB had his usual free kick, so it was sort of nowhere near. Didn't trouble the goalkeeper. Walker had a great header, didn't he, wide of the post, but. Yeah, that was it. It was all over, and Lyon celebrated as though they'd won the Champions League, and all credit to them. They'd beat the favourites, not the favourites in my eyes, as you know. I've been sort of balking at this favouritism since the start of the Champions League, and as I say, I did. If you follow my little, I don't condone betting, but you follow my little bets, I've been laying City not to win the Champions League all season, so I've got a few quid to come off that, but it doesn't soften the blow in any way, and I knew it wouldn't. It was just my head saying I could do with earning a few extra quid, and that's what I've done, but there you go. Further thoughts on the game to follow. On to the player ratings. We've got Mr. Brennan back in charge. Not the greatest set of player ratings after last night. This is Mr. Brennan. I'll give you my score as well. Ederson caught high for Cornet's goal, and his effort for a third goal was poor. He's giving 4. I'm not going to disagree with that. I might have edged to 5 but it was just such a poor mistake at a bad time, even though I think we may have, even at 2-1 we looked dead and buried, but it was abysmal. And high pressure like that, you need your players to step up to the plate, and unfortunately Ederson didn't. Fernandinho did not look comfortable in the back three. His composure was poor and pace lacking. He was hooked. So he's given him a 4. I'll give him a 5 because I mean he's all of a sudden he's come back into the reckoning, hasn't he? Pep's not been playing now. He's asked him to play again, and Pep's messing around with his team and messing around with the players' heads, and I think this is part and parcel of that with Fernandinho. So I'll give him a 5. Shoot, give him a 4. Eric Garcia, surprise selection. He was the best of City's back three. Unruffled, unlucky for the opening goal. So we give him a 6. Yeah, I'm not going to give him a 6. I'm going to give him a 5.5. Again, he's part of the defence, and I think There's a couple of things where he was doing his usual holding on to players, and even though you can't say he did anything particularly wrong, I mean, he's just, to me, I don't think he should have played. Simple as that, under the circumstances, unless he's told Pep he wants to stay, and obviously Pep's doing that, but I doubt that's happened. So I'll give a 5.5. Stuart Brennan's been kind to Eric Garcia. Give him a 6, and I'm not saying he was bad or anything or at fault, but I'm not going to give him a 6 because he was, as a collective, the defence were poor. Aymeric Laporte looked nervous in the three-man defence and crumbled for the second goal. He's given him a 4. I'll give him a 4.5. Not great. Again, he's supposed to be a class player. He makes mistakes. In most games I've watched him play, he's made mistakes where he's passed the ball out. I mean, was it the second goal? It was his pass out in the first place. All right, he got fat. He may have been fouled, but it was poor pass out in the first place that led to them breaking and catching us flat-footed, unfortunately. So yeah, 4. I'll give him a 4.5. So I've been kind with him, but Stuart give him a 4. Kyle Walker caught between two stools in the first half. No attack threat, defensively absent, nervous passes. Give it a 5. I'll give Kyle Walker 5.5. I think he tried. He got stuck in again, but only 5.5. Of the defenders, I think he was the least culpable, to be honest with you. Rodri couldn't get any kind of grip on Lyon's breaking players. There was no real authority in the middle. 5 and 5. I mean, yeah, Rodri, it's not Rodri's sort of game. He had Gundogan and Fernandinho around as well. I mean, talk about negativity. I mean, it's the Bermuda Triangle of slowness, isn't it? You know, it's not great. Ilkay Gundogan, City relied on him to thread it all together, but he's lost in the new formation and only marginally better after the switch. So Stuart's given him a 5. I'm going to give Gundogan a 4.5. He's absolutely absent in my mind. I didn't hardly see him. He's not my favourite player, as you know, but I always try and look out for him to see if he does something good, but I couldn't see anything last night. He didn't add anything going forwards or backwards. Cancelo, City's best attacking option up the left flank and getting Sterling in dangerous positions. Yeah, he's given him a 7. I'm going to go 6.5. He is my one of my highest marks as well. But yeah, he did okay of going forward. As I say, defensively, he's not asked to defend, is he? Unfortunately, so you know, I wanted to see Mendy in there again. I want to see Mendy back as well. But there you go. Cancelo played, and he was okay, but. Didn't just do it, just go that a little extra, does it? But he played okay. Kevin De Bruyne, much better after the switch to normal formation, scoring what looked like a vital goal. Yeah, I mean, he's given him a 6. I give him a 6 as well. I mean, a little bit of critique on Kevin after, but yeah, he was asked to do lots and lots last night, wasn't he? He did score the goal, so I'm not going to go down. So perhaps he could have been pushed to a 6.5 to match Cancelo, who's one of my highest scorer. Because as far as City man of the match concerned, probably between him and Cancelo, to be honest with you. It was certainly Raheem Sterling up to the last 10 minutes or so. Raheem Sterling, all season we've talked about his transition to a goal scorer, then he misses an absolute sitter. 4. Stuart's giving 4, I'll give him a 5. Yeah, I mean, we know he's prone to do that. Yes, he can score goals, but he misses some really good efforts as well. So he's not a natural goal scorer, is it, at the end of the day? I mean, Stuart said he's transitioned to a goal scorer, but he's a midfielder, he's a winger who scores goals. He's not a natural goal scorer, and that was unforgivable, that miss. But I'm not going to give him 4. I'll give him a 5 because he had played really well up to then. I think 4's a mid-bean. Gabriel Jesus, anonymous for long spells, but improved in his work to tee up Sterling was terrific. So he's given him a 5. Yeah, I'm going to give him a 5 as well. I might have pushed to 5.5, but there's a couple of chances he had that he missed, but weren't very, very good. So I can only give him a 5 like Stuart has. Riyad Mahrez on 55 minutes made no difference. He may as well not have been there, to be honest with you. Didn't make any real difference. Didn't go any sort of little jiggly runs that I noticed. So he's given him a 5. I'll stick with 5 as well because he came on a sub, so it's an unfair thing to do, really. Match stats, the actual match stats: 72% for City, possession 28 for Lyon, shots 18 for City, 7 on target. 7 for Lyon, 6 on target. Well, there you go. That's why they won the game. Corners 11 for City. We absolutely looked useless from corners again. We had a little bright spot, didn't we, a few games ago where we looked as though we'd taken short corners and building from corners. Now all of a sudden we just come back to flinging it in the box. Is that because KDB wanted his assist record? I'm not too sure, but it's pointless. Absolutely pointless. 11 corners for City, 3 for Lyon. Fouls 13 by Lyon, 13 by City, 15 by Lyon. I thought actually we fouled a bit more actually, but obviously we came out better on the fouls anyway. Before my little summation of the game to cheer us all up and have a bit of lightedness to it and a bit of depression with what I thought. You know, we don't want to be too depressed, do we? It's only football at the end of the day, but it is upsetting. I was quite down last night. I didn't sleep very well overnight. Quirky stats. Here we go. Here's the quirky stats. Not many positive ones, unfortunately, after last night. Optajoe. 4. Maxwell Cornet has now scored 4 goals against Manchester City in the Champions League since Pep Guardiola took charge of the club. Only Lionel Messi with 4 has scored as many against them in the competition. Oh, cheers. Thanks for letting us know about that. Stat City at Stat City. 57. Kevin De Bruyne has now scored 57 goals for Manchester City in all competitions, moving into the top 40 goal scorers for the club, overtaking Brian Kidd on 56. There you go. A bit of a highlight there. Stat City at Stat City again. 7. Man City have now gone 7 matches without keeping a clean sheet in the Champions League. Well, thanks for reminding us on that one. 11. Sterling provided his 11th assist for Manchester City in the Champions League, the joint most for the club alongside Kevin De Bruyne. Okay, Lyon's Maxwell Cut. These are just general stats that I got. These perhaps from the BBC site. I think these. I'll give them credit. Lyon's Maxwell Cornet and Moussa Dembele have scored 4 Champions League goals against City, a joint high with Lionel Messi, so you've got Dembele as well included in that. Kevin De Bruyne's attempted 17 crosses, almost 3 times as much as anyone else, but he only completed 23 of his 39 passes, so not fantastic. But again, we'll talk about Kevin and his expectations last night in a moment. Right, there we go. Well, this is the moment. This is the moment we've been looking at. I'm not going to go on, rattle on for too long with this. I'll just go talk about certain things. We've got to talk about Pep, haven't we? He did appear to be rejuvenated in my eyes after lockdown. He got his new guy alongside him after Arteta had left. I mean, a lot of people are mentioning Arteta last night on the reasons why City had been struggling. And he's been tweaking the team in a positive way in some of these games, and he's been making early changes. He's been making changes on 50 minutes, 55 minutes, and not frightened of using as many subs as he can. But last night, selection, although not a massive change to what I was thinking, was far too respectful. Lyon, wasn't it? It was far too defensive thinking. And we're not defensive. I mean, please, we're not in a million years defensive. I mean, I would have been interested or panicking to see that defence against Bayern Munich the way they played the other night in their quarter-final. But you give too much respect to Lyon, and we're not defensive, so we're not. He knows that's not a strength. So why sort of put these sort of slower, laborious players in the mix? I mean, even Garcia's not pacey, so all you've got is Walker with a little bit of pace at the back, but he can't cover the whole across the whole thing because he's expected to get forward as well. Lyon showed respect to City. Lyon, as I said, I thought they'd come out of the traps quickly, but they didn't. But see what Lyon do, and what most teams do is they've obviously watched City play, and we know that if they play that deep line, it slows our pace down, and we're very, very lethargic and laborious sometimes in our build-up, and it's been proven against the Southamptons and the Norwich Cities and the Wolves of this world. Never mind the better teams like Chelsea and Liverpool and even United. So they played superbly. Their manager, Rudy Garcia, played a superb game. He read City perfectly, which isn't hard these days. So Pep's, as I said, he's been innovative, hasn't he? He's been bringing subs on 55 minutes, but it's as though last night he said, right, this is my team, I'm going to stick to it no matter what, because his failure to change and use substitutes last night is unforgivable. I mean, if you think that starting lineup was actually doing the job. Yes, it had enough chances to win it. Of course it did. But, still at the end of the day, it needed something a little bit different. I mean, the substitutions he did make were sort of pointless. I mean, Mahrez could have changed things, but he didn't. He was obviously not able, or, again, he's been ignored, hasn't he, Mahrez? So he's probably on a strop anyway. He probably don't want to play anyway. And the bringing on a Silva of 80-odd minutes, I mean, what is the point? I mean, at some stage, this game cried out for a Bernard or a Foden, didn't it? I mean, it just needed that little... I mean, Bernardo's in his hometown. I mean, he must have been so psyched up for this game. I mean, old bubblegum, what... why didn't you bring him on? I mean, I don't say he's been twiddling and messing and doing all these little things all after this shutdown. He's been tweaking things, and he didn't last night. He just stuck with what he began with basically. I don't think Mahrez's substitution proved anything or accepted anything. It was unforgivable in my eyes that he did that. Despite all this, yes, of course, as I said, we could have still won this game, but a combination again of player errors, poor finishing, and yeah, you've got to put officials and VAR into it. Of course you have, but you make your own luck. You need a certain amount of luck to win trophies, and you need a certain amount of luck to win knockouts. Yeah, we seem to do okay in the League Cup. That's a knockout competition we've sort of dominated over the last few years, but it's on a lower level, isn't it? It's on a lower level even to the FA Cup, where we haven't dominated as such, and certainly to the Champions League, where when it comes to the knockout phase, we've not done really well at all. We've lost to lesser teams. It's as simple as that. And you do need a certain amount of luck, but you do make your own luck. And sometimes in this Champions League, City and Pep in particular don't make, and we don't help make our luck in these games. So I was totally, it was to rate Pep last night. I would again like the players. He would be scoring anywhere between 4 and 5. I think I've got something else to say on Pep in a moment. Just the players, I'm not going to slag out. I mean, obviously you can see by the ratings the players weren't great last night. Most of the players, there's not many came out of it sort of with any plus points. So I'm not going to slag any of the players off. Cancelo is possibly the only one to come out of it 100% unscathed. But again, that was on his foot going forward, and perhaps people like Mendy could have done that sort of job, or a winger. Perhaps we didn't need our left back going forward. Perhaps we needed someone zooming down the left. But he's the only one to come out of this unscathed. There's excuses for Garcia under the circumstances. Again, he's been asked to play a game where perhaps his mind's not on it, but obviously Pep's a manager, he knows, doesn't he? But again, he was part of a pretty bang average defensive unit, wasn't he? And KDB has to escape some criticism, but again, you just feel he could have done a lot better. But again, everything was expected to come from him. Any real critique is unfair. He was expected to carry the creativity all on his own back. There was nobody else in there to create things, to produce things. We had the guys who could perhaps get down a line and put a ball in, but it was all on his shoulders. And we know we've seen it in the last few games. He's been, trying for the assist king, hasn't he? He's been trying those long balls all the time, but I'm sorry, the way Lyon played last night, it wasn't ideal for him, and he was taking those free kicks, and none of them came anywhere near. So, yeah, he was expected to carry all the creativity. So I'm going to let him off in some extent, but this is unforgivable, really, isn't it? It's unforgivable with Silva, Bernardo and Foden sat on the bench, not to start at least one, and then not to use them after half-time. Pep, please, that was a big mistake. And the players suffered because of it. The players who, again, played in a formation that they're not overly familiar with, and Pep needs the players. I think to some extent, yes, they made individual errors and they made cock-ups, but again, I think most of the blame lies at the manager's door, unfortunately, and we love him to bits. And there we go. At 1-1, we should have gone on to win the game. Credit to Lyon, who played to their strengths and they played to our weaknesses, which is fair enough. That's all you can ask. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time that this has been done against City. And I can't see it changing the all-too-soon season 2021, which is upon us, isn't it? I know we made a couple of good signings, but are they going to really make that sort of difference at the moment? I think this is definitely Pep's last season. If he doesn't go sooner, I don't think there's any chance of him staying on. I think he's I saw a brief glimpse of him looking rejuvenated, as I said, but based on last night, he's a lot browner. He's looking more tan these days, but I don't think he's going to stay longer, do you? I mean, honestly, let me know in the comments if you think, I think this is his last season now. If he does stay, I mean, there's always a possibility he may go even now. Who knows? I mean, there's nothing to say that. Well, I've not seen his after-match press conference, and obviously he's going to have to fly to Abu Dhabi, isn't he, to see the boss, but we can't be happy, and he's not happy. Of course he's not happy, and the players aren't happy, but... I don't see it. This is his last season now. Let's go out with a bang and do something. But whether winning the Champions League is possible, I doubt it very, very much. Please, anyone else we can talk about? Anyone else we need to say? don't think so, do you? I think that's just about sums it up. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Anyway, what do you think of his team pick? And say there's lots on Twitter at the moment. Obviously, there's a lot of post-mortems going on left, right, and saying, oh, you enjoy my little views of the match anyway. And don't worry, I mean, it's a closed season, but there'll be plenty of citizen pass to come. There's one due out as I'm recording this tomorrow. There'll be a citizen pass on a certain date that in itself doesn't seem significant, 17th of August, 1992. And it was a Monday night game against Queen's Park Rangers, but it had some significance, so a little special on that tomorrow for you. So please keep your eyes open for that citizen pass special. And of course, I will be doing a part 2. I've done my Player of the Year, as you know, and it was Fernandinho was our City Player of the Year for the 1920 season. But I'm going to have to do a subheading to that, aren't I? 1920 part 2. So I'll do another Player of the Year, and I'll do the Manchester Evening News Player of the Year along with it, because I've been making note of their scores. So based on the player ratings, I mean, top 5 from my original one was Fernandinho was number 1, Foden 2, KDB 3, Aguero 4, and Mahrez 5. So let's see how they pan out in this part 2 to the Player of the Year for the season 1920. So obviously I'll include all the FA Cup games and this Champions League, the 2 Champions League games as well. And there will be, please look out, a little tribute. I've done a little tribute. We have moments in time, don't we? I've got a legend in time, of course. We can't leave this season now without talking about Mr. David Silva. So I've just took a look back at him joining City in his first season. So rather than do a thing of his, I've just done a little special there. So please keep your eyes open for that over the next few days. Hopefully that'll be coming out to you in the next 3. I wanted this Champions League to finish before I did it, just in case we could add another little trophy to his haul. But unfortunately that's not happened. So please look out for my little David Silva tribute as well, which is coming out on a City Moments in Time, which are quite popular. And there'll be other little bits and bobs coming out as well. And there will be City presents, obviously. Is anything? Obviously, I'll have a look through we do these little City catalogues. I'll have a look at what's happening in the media world on City, and I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 of those before the new season starts. And of course, a preview of the new season will be a City present as well as a City present part 2 and my Player of the Season award. So that'll be coming out. So there's plenty. Right? Even there'll be plenty coming over the next. How many weeks have we got? Is it 3 or 4 weeks before the season starts? I don't think I'm ready. I don't feel ready at the moment, I must admit. Please check my links on screen. And if you know anyone or you're into, I mean, a lot of people, I love movies and TV dramas, and I do little vlogs on that as well. So if you're into that sort of thing, or you've got friends or relatives who like watching movies and stuff, please check out on the playlist my little movie reviews and vlogs. And if you can look at my website for old movie memorabilia, well, it's old and rare DVDs, some movie posters from the 90s and 2000s, some board games on there as well. If you can have a look on that as well, they're all on the links that you can see on screen. That'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for joining me for this sad, but hey, you know, we move on, don't we? I'm not in work today. I'm in work tomorrow. There's one or 2 United fans and a Liverpool fan might have something to say, but hey, we take it on the chin, don't we, and see how the United go on tonight, and you know whether they've got anything to brag about anyway. But it doesn't matter about them, does it? It's all about City and season. Well, perhaps talk about it in the player rating and the Player of the Season part 2. I'll have a quick summation of my thoughts on the season anyway. But thanks for watching today. What we're going to do the rest of the day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your family. More importantly, let's all look after each other. And until we meet again, hopefully very, very soon, this bird is saying goodbye for now. Stay safe, please. Bye-bye.